Sometimes things aren't reliable. Like, for example, you don't know which color hoodie is gonna come out best on the camera. So you end up recording while wearing 3, just to find out. However, hoodie colors, not that important. Your WordPress website, significantly more so. So when you're backing up your WordPress website, you want to make sure that that backup is reliable, that the tools you're using are reliable, because unlike a hoodie, you can't really afford to lose it. Here's my website, better than a multicolored hoodie if you ask me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 ways that I use in order to make reliable backups by using particular strategies or tools. The first and easiest thing to do is to make sure you have a reliable backups plugin. And the way we're going to do that is head across to your WordPress admin dashboard, come down to plugins and click on add new plugin right here. Come up into the search bar and we're going to search for Duplicator just there. That's going to pop up on the left-hand side. There we go. That took longer than I expected. On the left-hand side here, I'm going to click on install now, hang around for just a second and activate the plugin. That literally is going to give you a super reliable backups plugin, which is exactly what we want here. You're saving yourself the potential issues of having something that's a little bit unstable. So let's go here and go ahead and activate Duplicator. This is also going to be super easy to create backups, so we can just come here from the Duplicator homepage where they've got all of your backups saved, go to create new. And then this is going to give you a few options for storage, backup, and the installer. You don't actually need to worry about any of these unless you want to add a little bit of password protection down here. If you have Duplicator Pro, then you're able to use the backup to choose exactly what it is you want to back up, or the storage option here where you can, for example, store your backups on Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, places like that. But for today, if we leave it exactly as it is, we get a full site backup named this. That's all we need to worry about. So let's go next and run our scan. So this is scanning the site, make sure everything is all good for your backup. It takes a few seconds. There you go, done already. And this is one of the key things that we want our plugin to do, is to make sure that the backup is actually going to work and give you any information if there's going to be any issues. I've got no issues at all here. Everything is good or noticed. That's all we need to worry about. So I'm happy with this. This again is making my backup reliable. So let's go ahead and build this particular backup. So now we are building the backup. This is going to take a couple of minutes as it takes my whole site and builds it together into 2 files. So there's going to be an installer file and an archive file, which is where all of my backup files are going to be. And we're going to be able to use those to restore my website, to migrate my website. There's a whole host of things we can do. So we'll give this just another minute to run and I will come back and show you the next step. So there we go, that backup took just over 2 minutes to create, and what we can do now is download both the installer and archive files, drop them on my computer, save them wherever you like. But if I head over to the sidebar and go into backups just here, you'll be able to see that I now have that backup just there, so I can now use this. However, what we want to do is we want to get to step 2 and make sure, in terms of having a reliable backup at all times in case the absolute worst should happen, that we have a disaster recovery option. In order to do that, I do need Duplicator Pro. We've been using Duplicator Lite so far, which is the free version. So I'm just going to come down here, upgrade to Pro, and I'm going to get Duplicator Pro as my plugin just here, and then we're going to continue with the disaster recovery. So now I have Duplicator Pro, we can come across to the sidebar here. And again, if we go to the backups page, we're going to see that it looks slightly different. So I have my backup just here, and you can see I've got a few extra options, such as the status option just here. This one is what I'm looking for. It says this backup is available for disaster recovery. This is where we are going to get a completely reliable backup that no matter what happens, we are going to be able to use it and get our site back. Super important. So I'm going to click on here to create a disaster recovery point. There we go. Available for this backup. And I'm just going to click on set disaster recovery. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a disaster recovery point that I can use even if I do not have access to my WordPress website from the front end or the back end. I could have absolutely zero ability to get into my WordPress site, but I have a reliable backup. For example, on my computer or wherever you're storing it, you're going to be able to get your website back from this disaster recovery point no matter what. So that disaster recovery has been created, and I've got a couple of options here to copy a link or download the launcher. Both are going to work in pretty much the same way. The link is a URL that you're going to copy into your search bar. The launcher is a physical launcher. You're just going to open a file. I'm going to show you how this works by downloading the launcher and then using that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to assume that my website is completely locked out. There's nothing I can do and I cannot get access. So what I've just downloaded is just here, this. This is the launcher. So I'm just going to double click on this right here. So this is going to show you what's creating. We're initializing the launcher and it's giving me a single site backup restore. This is exactly what I want. So it's done the check for me, everything is valid, and then I'm just going to accept the terms and notices and click on restore backup. So this is just giving you a warning exactly what your what the settings are that are going to be used and some of the data that's going to be overwritten. We don't worry about that. We're not worried about it because we want everything to be overwritten because we have no access to our website. So let's just click on OK and let that happen. So there we go, it's showing that the recovery process is done, and now what we need to do is we just need to do an admin login just to delete the installer files. So we're just going to click here on admin login, and if you want you can check the install result. It's just going to tell you there that everything was fine. So I'm just going to go ahead, click on admin login and make sure that this is ticked right here. Once you've logged in, you can see that your site has successfully been restored. That's exactly what we want. So we can go and check out my website, and it's going to show you that everything is exactly as it was before anything went horribly wrong. Now, there are, of course, multiple uses for this. It doesn't just have to be when anything goes wrong. You could be doing specific testing, or you could be trying out a new plugin, something that you might want to go back to, and you might need the disaster recovery for that. Or, of course, you could just try using the regular backup. However, you might not have a regular backup because here, of course, that's a disaster recovery point that I have set from a specific point. You may also find that the last time you did a backup was a week ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So your restore point is actually way further back than what you want because you want something that is very recent. So the easiest way to do that is to schedule a backup. And the easiest way to do that is by clicking this video just here.